Today, we're jumping into a single historical event that completely changed the English language as we know it, the Norman Conquest. So, have you ever wondered why English sometimes feels like it has two different personalities? Why so many of our words for things like law, government, and fancy food sound, well, French? That's the big question we're tackling today.
And the answer really all comes down to one single massive year. A moment that didn't just change a country, but it totally rewired the words that people spoke. That year was 1066. It's when the Normans, who are basically French-speaking Vikings, crossed the Channel and took over England. This one date, 1066, is the key to understanding so much about modern English.
And its effect was huge. I mean, this wasn't just a new king on the throne, it was like a linguistic earthquake. The conquest kicked off a chain of events that would rebuild the English language from the ground up.
So, how exactly did that happen? Well, it all started with a really clear social divide, and that divide was reflected perfectly in the languages that people used every day. Right after the invasion, the English language was pretty much pushed to the sidelines. The new folks in charge didn't speak it, and they definitely didn't see any value in it. In fact, English quickly got a bad rap. It was seen as this crude, simple language for peasants. Meanwhile, the language of power and prestige, that was now French.
This really shows you the new reality. For the next couple of centuries, England basically became a two-language country. You had French for all the important stuff, the royal court, the church, and the government. And then you had English, which was just the language of the common folk.
And believe me, the social pressure was intense. This quote from around the year 1300 says it all. If you didn't know French, people just looked down on you. To be taken seriously, to get anywhere in life, you had to speak French. English just wouldn't cut it. But here's the thing. English didn't just disappear. It stuck around, and when it finally came back into the mainstream, it was a totally different language. The French influence left a permanent mark, especially on English vocabulary. Take a look at this number, 10,000. That's not just some random figure. It shows you the incredible scale of the linguistic takeover that happened. That's right. Over time, English soaked up about 10,000 words from French. And just to put that in perspective, these words now make up about a third of our vocabulary today. It wasn't just a few new words. It was a total vocabulary transplant. And this table is the perfect example of that social divide. You had English-speaking farmers using the old English words for the animals they were raising, pigs, cows, and sheep. But the French-speaking nobles at the dinner table used French words for the meat they were eating, pork, veal, and mutton. This split between the farm and the table tells the whole story. And this influence went way beyond just food. French became the language for anything considered high class. In law, we got words like judge, in business, cordial, in religion, faith, and in the world of high society, words for things like fashion and luxury, like veil. Which brings us to a really fascinating question. What would English sound like if 1066 never happened? It would be a completely different language, for sure. Much more Germanic, maybe closer to Dutch. The incredible richness and variety of modern English is, without a doubt, the most lasting legacy of that one single fateful year. So then next time you talk about liberty or government or even just sit down to eat some pork, just remember, you are literally speaking the history of the Norman Conquest. This video is brought to you by the IELTS Focus 08477059973, an English center specializing in IELTS preparation.